We've been together for a while now, so...
Tessa...
I was thinking I can clear a drawer for you.
Oh, no. Just stop that right there.
True love is out there. You've just got to find the right person.
What would my ideal man be like? Kind, funny, smart.
Able to commit, like be nice to.
I'm certain that man does not exist.
Of course he does.
Hi, I'm Sophia Jessica, and this is Angel, and welcome to the fan carpet.
Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning. How are we doing? Very well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you. All good.
Good.
Yeah. How are you, mate? It's nice to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. Not too bad. How are you?
All right. Yeah, all good. Can't grumble.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Let me make sure that's good. Okay. Right, amazing.
All right, brilliant. We'll get started. So it's a pleasure to see you both. I watched the film on Thursday. I absolutely loved it. It's I was saying to Jacob before that it gave me Hallmark vibes, and I really enjoyed those sort of films. So it ticked all the boxes for me. So if we go back to the beginning, was there a defining moment for you both to get into the industry?
Ooh. Ladies first.
A defining moment. Not really. I've always been really into theatre and the performing arts. So, you know, since I was a young girl, I would go to the theatre, maybe on like school trips or with my parents and siblings. And I just was always really into the magic of, you know, the make-believe and all these things that would happen on stage and also, you know, on screen. And I grew up in the 90s watching a lot of like, you know, big blockbuster movies as well. So, you know, I think I just was very used to having like this whole world around me, and it just seemed very normal, but there was something about it that made me want to be a part of it. So I did like weekend drama workshops, and then I also did youth theatre when I was about 19, I believe. And I originally did apply for a few drama schools when I was 18, and I actually got into East 15. I didn't end up going there, and I did like a journalism and drama and theatre studies degree in Chester, but something about it just didn't really, it still felt like I needed to submerge myself into the industry and really feel like I was getting an experience that would actually be able to allow me to like build a career. So, you know, I just did like a bit more youth theatre, and then I just started acting, I guess. Just somehow started acting. You know, from youth theatre, a lot of opportunities came about, and yeah, and then I got like my first agent, and then from there I went back to like drama school, and then I did a 2-year professional acting diploma, and I've just kind of like always been like a theatre kid, I guess.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I guess similar. I guess I've always done it. When I was at school and stuff, I was always in the, you know, in the school plays and that sort of thing. And then I had a similar thing where I left college, sort of loved acting, but also had a weird thing at the time. I didn't really back myself. Plus, I was sort of an 18-year-old lad who didn't really know who I was yet. So I didn't go to drama school. I ended up just going to uni. So I did a degree in drama and script writing, and which was all right. To be honest, since I've got to work in the industry and I've chatted to a lot of people, I think we did basically the same stuff, just with less prestigious teachers, I would say. But no, so it was all right. And then I left there, started doing a bit of theatre and stuff, which I loved. And then I decided that I quite like the idea of doing films. So I did a load of short films, student films, festival films, nothing that I got any money for a very long time. And built up a little show. And I guess the defining moment, which was the question, was I used to just, I saw things on Facebook, I used to hunt people down. So if I saw someone was producing an indie flick or a feature film, I was desperate to do a feature role. So I just messaged them and I would send my show reel. And most of the time, obviously, people would be like, who's this kid? This is ridiculous. And then there was this one time with a director called John Langridge, who's a lovely bloke, good friend to this day, who was in a film called 13 Graves. And he replied to me and went, oh, actually, you'd be quite a good fit for this part. We've just had someone drop out. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I did a load of tapes. And yeah, he turned around and said, oh, I think you're perfect for the role. But the problem was, at the time, they already had a distributor on board. And the distributor sort of turned around and said, well, we don't want him because nobody knows who he is. But John, God love him, sort of stuck to his guns. So I got confirmed. I think it went on for months. And I think I got confirmed for the part like 3 days before principal photography started. And it was like on the opposite end of the country. But that was a real help to me, I think, because basically from there it kicked open a couple of doors. And so that was I guess that was a defining moment in answering your question. Yeah.
Awesome. Wonderful. Right, so brilliant. That's brilliant. So what can you tell us about Three Wishes for Christmas, and what was it that made you want to tell this story, and specifically about your characters that drew you to the role?
Jacob, do you want to go first?
Oh, me first. Oh, blind.
Yeah, I went first the last time.
Yeah. Okay, fair. That's a good deal. I guess I don't know. It's this time of year. I'm quite a sentimental person anyway, and I think that the world that we live in and the things that are going on in the world, I think sometimes people just need something that sort of warms you a little bit, gives you a little hug. And when I read the script, that's exactly what this is. I mean, it's your typical Christmas romance, but there's something about the characters that drew me in. There's lovely stories. That I think there's the family dynamic on our side. So obviously the fact that Christine's character comes to stay with her best friend, and then her brother's there, and her mum and dad, and just something about that. Just there's something warming and nostalgic about a sort of family Christmas, and that really appealed to me. And also, I just think the opportunity to play a romantic part. There's so many parts that come up that are horror films or thrillers or something like that, and I die in everything basically. I'm usually dead by the credits. So this was just a really nice chance to I don't know, do something that was fun and full of joy and love, and hopefully that's what we did. I mean, we had such a wonderful. I had such a wonderful time making it. Christine's probably sitting there going, "Well, you have to work opposite you." But no, it was such a wonderful experience, and I loved it. I loved every second, and I hope people do get that from it. I hope people get a nice, warm, cozy feeling from it, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was really a great experience, filming Three Wishes for Christmas, and you do get a great feeling from it, and the moment I read the script, Tessa and the whole story just made me feel very hopeful, and there were so many parts of Tessa's journey that I could relate to, and I think that the moment I saw it, I just knew that a lot of other people would be able to relate to her as well. And I think that was one of the reasons I wanted to tell this, story and be a part of it. Tessa is a character that I think everyone knows a Tessa. She's just, a good, lovely person who just doesn't quite know her, worth, and is a bit insecure about certain things in her life and hasn't fully stepped into, I guess you could kind of say, her greatness and, knowing who she is. And just seeing a person, who is not really sure of themselves, finally having their fairy tale ending, I think was just really it just made me feel warm. And I read the script and I was just like rooting for Tessa. And yeah. And yeah, there's just like, you know, so many lovely, great parts of the film, you know, that the themes in it that I just thought, wow, this is great. Like the whole idea of having 3 wishes, you know, Sam says to Tessa, I'll give you the 3 wishes to kind of rectify my bad behavior. And it just felt very magical. There isn't actually any magic in the film, but the whole act felt. At first, when I read the
I've had a
script,
few
I was
people
like,
ask
"Oh, I'm
me that actually.
wondering."
That's why I laughed. Yeah. Is he a
I
genie?
actually thought, "Oh,
Yeah,
would there be?" Yeah,
yeah.
and I thought, "Oh, maybe Tessa would have like a fairy godmother, or you know, there would be some
Yeah.
kind of element of that." But it's just realizing that, you know, the real magic lies in us and the choices that we make and how we have the power to affect people around us and bring magic to our everyday mundane lives. And I love that, you know, and you see a real journey, just not with Tessa, you see one with Sam and how he comes in and he's a bit a bit of a humbug, as he says, and he's
Yeah.
not really into Christmas and he's had like a heartbreak not too long ago,
Yeah.
and you see him really soften up and open up, and it's just really lovely. There's just so many good little nuggets that you can take away from it that just reminds you of how important Christmas is, and it isn't just about, like, you know, the presents and you know, all of the commercial stuff. It's also about this might sound cheesy, but love that you have for your family, love for your friends, and actually finding love in someone else. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Anita Dobson's character had the fairy godmother line. So yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
she's lovely. Yeah, I think there is something in that. There's that little hint at yeah, it's like I think Christine. That's a really nice point. I think it's the magic is everyday magic, isn't it? It's the magic that you find in other people
yeah,
and family and people that you love. So yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So what does it mean for you both to be storytellers and tell stories in this way?
Wow, Christine, your turn.
That's a really great question, and I think a really loaded one, because I write as well, and I have found that, like, being a storyteller for me is it's 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 grasping onto like life, real life, and being able to reflect that back to society, and also just exploring the possibilities of what life is. And yeah, I think that when you've got so many different people in this world, you know, living their lives, having different experiences, and being a storyteller, and specifically in the acting side of things, I'm able to step into those shoes, you know, and walk those people's lives, and hopefully kind of like open up a world for the audience, the world to see, you know, that maybe they would not have been exposed to. And yeah, storytelling, it's something that I think is also it's very therapeutic to me to go through a narrative and find key moments that kind of help to bridge answers to questions that you have about life, you know, or maybe even about yourself. And yeah, I mean, I love what I do. I love being able to, like, you know, learn about people's lives and also share what I know and hopefully like affect people with what I do and being a storyteller.
Awesome.
That's a lovely answer. I guess the whole storytelling thing. I kind of always think that it's okay, it's on a really serious note. I think it's what makes us human in a lot of ways. Because since the dawn of time, people have sat around campfires and told stories, right? It's the reason that we have ideas and different theories for why things happen and all this and the other. It's stories, it's storytelling, and I've always loved that. I love seeing stories, hearing stories. That's why I fell in love with films and theatre and all that sort of stuff. So on a really serious note, I think that's kind of, I think it's a really human thing. But I think on probably a more selfish personal note, for me, it's anytime I get to do it. I mean, we literally get to play make believe, for a job, and that's just a wonderful thing. We get to hang on to something of us that's from our childhoods, I guess. So yeah, I love it, and like you say, I feel utterly privileged anytime I get the chance to do it, for whatever it is, particularly if the work's good, like in this case. And I just think that yeah, I love it. So on a selfish note, it's getting that opportunity to step into somebody else's shoes for a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So can you talk about the location work in Three Wishes for Christmas? Because obviously you're in that mansion at the like in the last third of the film, and then obviously the town that you're in for the majority of the film as well. It's just beautiful and pristine.
Yeah. No, it's an amazing part of the world. So we shot most of it in Somerset, around that sort of part of the world. A lot of the town stuff was Frome. Yeah, I mean, you literally couldn't get it wrong in terms of, like, you point the camera anywhere and it just looked, I guess, that sort of quintessential. We were sort of saying as we were filming it, was like, well, the Americans are going to love this. They're going to love it. Because I think that's in their mind, this is how we all have Christmas, in these like beautiful postcard, quintessentially British looking places. But it was, I mean, we literally couldn't have got a better location. I mean, it was so beautiful. They basically all they did was covered it in snow and just, and you could film anywhere because it all just looked so charming and so Christmassy, I guess, Christmassy all year round. But yeah, I guess the only weird part about it is we closed off a couple of streets depending on what we're shooting, but obviously on the edges you had like the people just going about their day-to-day business, and you could see them glancing at the snow a little bit confused about, because it's like March. April time, wasn't it? Is that right? Yeah.
It was in March.
Yeah, that was I guess the only thing you will say about shooting a film like this is that it wasn't particularly cold, and obviously all the scenes we're wearing scarves and hats and massive coats. Yeah, we're actually probably sweating in most of the scenes, I would say.
Yeah.
Movie magic.
Exactly.
Movie
Yeah,
magic.
exactly.
So do you have any memories from filming Three Wishes that stand out to you, something you won't forget?
I just had such a lovely
memories.
Yeah, I just had genuinely had such a lovely time. I will say this, and this made me laugh, and I hope Buffy doesn't mind me saying this, but one of my funniest memories is we were getting ready to shoot, I think it was the Christmas Eve dinner, and Buffy was running the lines upstairs, who plays my mum in the film, and she's a brilliant actress and hilarious, and she just looked at me and went, I've decided I think she's a bit drunk. I said, what do you mean? She went, I've just decided she's not really drunk, she's just had a few gins. And I was like, okay, fine. And then she started to creep that into the performance. And then because she'd said it to me, I just found it so funny, because I started like spotting these little tiny she's had a couple of gins. She's had a drink. She's Christmas. It's Christmas. So I did enjoy that. But I think the whole thing was just such a wonderful, happy time, personally speaking.
Yeah, it was a brilliant experience, and Buffy was absolutely hilarious. I think he probably contributed to a great deal of like my memories on set. Yeah, there was so many moments, whether it was like at the hotel, waking up first thing in the morning and looking out of my hotel window and just kind of like spotting everyone in their room doing like their daily warm up or preparation before they go to set was just like it was a great view, you know. And
Remember Buffy's slippers, Christine?
her
In the
slippers.
hotel.
Oh,
oh man, so you don't know those like hotel slippers they give you.
Oh yeah.
Christine will tell you, but it was so funny, man, so funny. She just lived a life in them. She lived a life in these slippers. But yeah, she's come down to breakfast, but she'd like be half wearing the slippers and her feet would be through the other side. But,
yeah, because the slippers are always like a size 10 or something, you know, and it's just like one size fits all, but it doesn't ever really fit everyone. So
yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, another really like great memory that I had on set. I think for me, the final scene was really cool. Like I never filmed, you know, on a plane, you know, or at a what would you call that?
An airfield.
An airfield. I never filmed on an airfield, and where we went actually, I think that they'd done like a few James Bond scenes there apparently, and it was just so cool to actually like be out and just be out there and you know, to be on like an airplane and, you know, having all the essays on and just like being in that whole world. It was absolutely amazing, you know, and everyone just everyone had like a really good, just a good energy, you know, and we actually filmed that at the end. So you know, that was after,
which is quite rare, isn't it, that you do the end bit last, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
I will say as well, and
amazing.
I don't want to just say this just because she's on the Zoom, but I will say that I think when it came to doing this sort of film, I guess you worry, one of the early worries is that you hope that the romance sort of reads or feels right when you go into it. But I will say this is that Christine she was so easy to work with and so brilliant that like the whole process didn't feel difficult, right? It just like all those little scenes, the conversations, it all naturally came together, and I hope it reads, because I think when we were on set it just felt easy, very, very easy, which is good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was super easy to work with Jacob as well. I think from the first day that we were on set together, it was very calm, and I think there was like natural nerves that you have sometimes because it's your first day, and you know, you want to like you said, all these things come to mind. Okay, is the scene going to like be okay? This is our first time on set. Will there be like a natural kind of ease and chemistry? And it was fine. It was all fine. And what I really love about Sam and Tessa is that the thing about their romance is that it is rooted in friendship. It is rooted in a genuine connection. You know, the big kiss comes at the end because that is like I don't want to say the least important, but that's like the final cherry on the top. Everything else that happens beforehand is what really matters, you know, having a friendship, having a connection. And me and Jacob built like a good friendship while we was working together, and that's what made it super easy, you know. So
excellent. Yeah, like a natural crescendo to have it end, have the film have the shoot end with the end of the film, rather than, because I mean that's I mean, I know they did that for Lord of the Rings where they shot in sequence, but they could because it was all in like New Zealand, so it was just the one location. I mean, obviously many locations in the one location, but they did that. And yeah, I suppose when you're in one location, because is it right that the location dictates what is shot when during a film?
yeah,
Because of
absolutely.
permits
I
and
think
stuff.
normally with like I was just so normally with like productions, they do have a schedule and they may have a certain location for a certain date. So that's, I guess, why you find a lot of films are not ever shot in sequence, because you have to just, do that scene on the day that you have the location locked in. So I kind of I think it was like a blessing to have the airfield on the last day, because, it was just like a big finish to everything. To just like all the hard work that had been put in, over the few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess from
absolutely.
an acting perspective, it helps a little bit, because generally speaking, if you're doing the final scene of a film, it's not at the end. But in this case, you sort of you've done the beats, so you've done all the story, so you kind of know that journey a little bit better than if you do that scene in the middle of a shoot. You might get to the end and go, oh, I could have done that differently because of that scene that we did and this, that, and the other. So yeah, it's nice that I guess you got to do the final bit knowing all of the rest of the stuff that we'd already shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was Donald Sutherland that famously used to film his a lot of like things from the middle first.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you're not as revved up in your character for the middle of the shoot, like middle scenes rather than and so he just went in there firing on all cylinders when he like got actual started. So
Yeah, great. That makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So, what does the future hold for Three Wishes, and do you feel that there's more story to tell within the world that you've helped craft? And also, I'm curious, what happened to the rest of your stuff that you left on the plane, because you didn't go back in.
Big question.
That is such a good question. And
it's somewhere in the Caribbean, isn't it? Is that where you were going to the Caribbean? That's right.
Well, that's the thing. We're at an airport. I feel like it could end up anywhere, but the Caribbean is definitely at the top of the list.
Yeah,
so
we've been pushing hard for it. We've been pushing hard. We're going to do the sequel, but so in the film, Tessa has a line about how they go on a Caribbean cruise. That's right, isn't it, Christine?
Yeah. Tessa's dad and stepmother.
Yeah, so we're pushing hard that
cruise.
The sequel needs to be I take my parents to meet her parents, but on the Caribbean cruise at Christmas.
Yeah. So it would be, exactly. So it would be like meet the parents, but Sam meeting Tessa's side of the family, which I think would be absolutely amazing, because you've already got the introduction to the Clark family, and you've had the traditional, very Hallmark Christmas, and to then just kind of like flip it on its head and go on a Caribbean cruise and meet all of the characters that you hear about but you never see on Tessa's side of the family would be really cool.
Plus, we need to get Katie's character set up. That's the next big job. If we do Three Wishes 2, we need to get Katie's character sorted. That can be that's the new love story for Three Wishes 2. That's the plan.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. So are there any other aspects of the industry that you'd like to pursue, or do you feel that you've hit your stride as performers?
I've done a few bits and bobs. So I've done a bit of producing work. So we were talking about Law earlier, which Katie was in, and Andrew. And I did. So I was in one of the stories. Obviously, it was an anthology film. I was in one of the stories, but I also helped produce some of the other bits as well because I knew the guys. So I've done a little bit of that. I've done some. Funny enough, I'm currently, which is very odd, but I'm currently directing a pantomime. I've done loads of pantomimes for years and years and years and years. But the problem is we're performing in a pantomime is that you don't have a Christmas. You end up sort of you just get Christmas Day off basically, and the rest of it you're working. And I just didn't. I wasn't in a good space for that this year, so I was offered the chance at the theatre. I've done it for years. They asked if I'd be keen to direct it, so I've had a go. So it's been a steep learning curve, but I've quite enjoyed it. But I think I guess in my mind, acting's number one as a vehicle. But I also think that in this day and age, particularly with the indie world, it's useful to get stuck in as many ways possible, whether that be writing or producing or directing. If you can be, if there's something else you can do to help tell that story, it's a useful thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations as well, Jacob, on that. That's going to be
Well,
is
yeah,
that going
we'll
to
see.
be like your directorial debut in theatre?
That's it. I wait for the reviews to come out, so those congratulations might be taken back, but we'll see.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, so for myself, I would say that I'm really keen on just continuing to explore like my, on-screen career in terms of like, different characters and stories that I can tell. My focus, I think, right now is maybe moving into a bit of comedy and also looking at really high-end drama and thrillers as well. I know two very different ones, comedy and like thriller, but I'm really wanting to just just go to both extremes and see what happens. I'm also a writer, so I've got quite a lot that I'm trying to get done at the moment because I write for stage and the screen. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, I will have like my first stage play completed at some point next year, early next year. And I'll just love to see, what happens with that. It's a very special story that I've been working on for a while. So yeah,
That's
I'm keen
amazing,
to get it out there.
Yeah, awesome.
Very exciting.
Yeah,
Very
awesome.
exciting.
Well, come back and we'll talk about that because we've got like theatre spotlight on the fan carpet, so we love talking about theatre.
That's cool.
Yeah, we love talking about theatre as well.
Amazing.
I love the theatre. I go as much as I can. I haven't been recently. Well, the last thing I went to was an independent play. And I just love the theatre. So yeah, yeah.
Oh, brilliant! I would love to make that happen.
Cool. So you've both obviously worked on some short films, as well as the features. Do you approach the characters differently when they're shorts as opposed to features?
Yeah, I would say for myself, absolutely. I've not done that much screen work actually. So I've done a lot of theatre, I say a lot, but I've done more theatre than I have screen. And when I, found out that I got the role of like Tessa and it's a, full feature and it's quite a chunky role, it was the same work that I did on a short, but it's just magnified and you just have to do all of that times 10, and it's with a short, it's only like a little it's like a very short glimpse into that character's world, what's happening in that day or in those few hours, versus a feature where you do have to have a very fully realized character and you have to have a very strong sense of who that character is before this film started and what's going to happen after the film ends. And I did like probably about a month and a half long prep for Tessa and the scripts, maybe even 2 months possibly. And I approached it the way I would any other role, and you just kind of like you dissect your script and you figure out who the character is. You look at every actor works differently depending what technique works for them, but for me, I go in literally with like my notepad, my pen, and I dissect every single section of the script, and I allow the script to tell me who the character is and what the world is that you're in. And I made a lot of choices, and then I also, with the choices I had made, partnered with my acting coach, Daniel O'Meara. He's absolutely wonderful. He does like private sessions, and he helps actors to prepare for TV and film, but he also has really amazing drop-in classes, weekly classes that anyone, you know, of any level can attend. And I'd never prepared with like an acting coach for a short film. It's something that I always felt like I could handle myself, but with this one I needed that extra support. So yeah, I'd probably say that's like the biggest difference for me.
Cool. Did you make a playlist for Tessa?
I did. I had a lot. I did. I had a lot of things that I did with Tessa. And it's always really interesting because, okay, so with a short film, right, the ones that I've done, I've only had like maybe 1 or 2 days on set, right? And you just have enough time to get the idea of like what the director wants, and you just kind of like, you know, you get it done, you're there for a short time. With a feature, it is over a longer period of time. So you can have your playlist, you can have your ideas, but then there's also a collaborative process that it's constantly kind of like shifting as well and changing. So what I found with Tessa is that she had a lot of like 80s music, and you know, like Material Girl, Madonna, and which I loved, you know, and because the film gave me that kind of vibe of like an 80s 90s kind of like classic rom-com Christmas movie, and that helped me to get into a world. But then, and there was like some really cool references in the film to like the 90s film, oh, with Julia Roberts, Pretty Woman.
A Pretty Woman.
Yeah, that, you know, that pops up and stuff. So, you know, I think, yeah, a lot of that stuff came in with like, you know, me thinking about her playlist and that. But again, you build all these things and you have an idea of what your character is, but again, it's constantly changing and evolving, you know, when you get on set. And you know, you picture a scene a particular way maybe, and then there's like conversations you have, you know, with your other actors or the directors, and then you kind of realize the tone of the scene maybe is a bit different, and it's kind of like, oh, I had this particular song in my head, you know, that kind of like helped me to get into this world, and you know, the energy and the atmosphere, and then that has to kind of like shift, you know. So yeah.
No, I think
I found.
Yeah, I think the starting point is this. I always, well, put on a personal level, I think the starting point for a short film and a feature film is probably similar in terms of you've still got to figure out who the person is and where they are and where their head's at, I guess, at that moment in time, whatever that moment in time is. But I think that the opportunity that a feature film gives you, or a series or something like that, it just allows you to go deeper into exploring who that person really is, and like you say, you get the collaboration lasts longer, and I that's part of the reason I love film so much, is that on a good film set, I feel like the team collaboration is at its peak. I think you get that at the beginning of theatre, but once the show's up, a lot of the time people get very, you know, in their tracks and that sort of thing. You've still got to be in the moment, but I think that on a film set, because things are happening in the moment so organically, that brings out more things and more things and more things, and it allows you to develop that. So I think that's the major difference for me, is that when you get to do something substantial in a feature film, you just get the time and the chance to really dig deeper, which I think that sometimes can add to the performance, because you know more about the person, I think.
Absolutely. And Jacob, did you have a playlist? Because I mean, obviously, Sam starts as a bit of a humbug, but
Yeah,
he definitely gets into the caroling.
Yeah. I think I mean, I'm one of these people. Christine will tell you, I'm always singing something, or usually not very well, but you know, just sort of singing away or messing around. And I think that there was moments in these films where you know, you start off, like you say, he's obviously when we first meet him, he's come from a bit of a bad place. He was brokenhearted and at Christmas, which doesn't help. So you know, he's got this sort of tainted view on what Christmas is. But I think by the end of the film, you know, you catch yourself sort of wandering around the set and found myself singing various different bits and pieces. The song that kept coming up in my mind actually at the end was when we did the bit that I had to get to the airport to stop her. I just couldn't stop thinking about Run Run Rudolph from Home Alone. Do you know the sequence? The Run Run Rudolph. That I kept singing it. I think to the point where Mike Morris told me to shut up at one point. So which was completely fair. And I did so.
Classic film, classic holiday film. With the popularity of streaming services, what do you think the future of cinema is?
Big question. It's so hard, and I think that because being of the, like Sam, you know, grew up, you know, in the 90s and watching those films and like the heat, the sort of height of blockbuster cinema and all this sort of stuff. I am, I guess, a bit of a cinema purist in a lot of ways, and I would love. I think films are best on the big screen, and there's an experience to go into cinema and all this. But I think that the way things are now, it's like if you like, particularly like if you look at our film, for example, it's screened at a few cinemas, but it's also out on. I need to mention this actually. It's out on Channel 5 this year on the 1st of December. But I think that for our film, that's a bigger deal nowadays because I think that TV audiences, generally speaking, I think it's quite difficult to get people to go to the cinema, even if you've got Tom Cruise and you know whoever else in the film. Big blockbusters aren't pulling the numbers they used to. So for a film like ours, the TV side of things is probably more important. I think the thing that worries me, I guess, is a little bit, and also, you know, progress is happening, and it's as long as people get to tell stories, that's great. But I think there's certain things that I guess the purist in me, I get, you know, the vertical drama thing now is a big thing, and it's a growing thing, and I think that's because, you know, there's a whole generation of people now that watch things that way. But I think that, you know, in my mind, I guess there's a part of me that's like, oh man, but you know, there's something about watching things in that way. You're missing so much of the picture. And then, you know,
my friends,
I guess the other big,
those.
Yeah, exactly. And but also, you know, there's not, you know, if someone sent me a script and it was good, you're going to do it, aren't you? Because, you know, it's still work and it's still telling stories. But I think the thing that freaks me out is the AI thing. I'm hoping that it feels like that people are pushing back in the right things are being said, but it's worrying. But I also think, and I am a strong believer, and I'll always say this, is that no matter how good AI gets, they can't do what people do. They can't stand on a set like me and Christine stand there, and that, like you say, that ease, that sense of ease, the chemistry that turned up there. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't manufacture that. So I think that there's, to me, I like to think of things in a hopeful way, and I think that I hope that it's a bit of I hope it's like the 3D. You know when you used to get glasses with 3D DVDs. I hope AI is similar to the 3D DVDs, and it just sort of comes and goes, and people are like, that was weird.
Yeah.
Although Spy Kids 3D as a kid, I remember that was pretty banging. I'll give them that.
I don't think AI is as big as a threat as we are being made to believe it is. And you know, obviously with it emerging right now, there's a lot of eyes on it and the possibility of what it can do. But like you said, it will never be able to do what real actors do, because the thing about AI is that it collects information that we give it. And, you know, humanity, we're constantly growing and evolving, and the only way AI will be able to be a fully realized, you know, human and give performances we give is the day that we stop evolving and we reach our pinnacle and there's nothing for AI to learn, you know. And I think that it's all great. And when it comes to the voiceover side of things, I think it's more of a threat there, because it's what you hear, it's not what you see.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens with the whole, AI stuff. But I'm a firm believer that, theatre and acting and just, real human performance will always win, because it's authentic, and people want to feel a connection to something real, and what we do on screen is real. So, and AI just can't replicate that. But in terms of what you were asking about, like streaming services and the future of cinema, I think that streaming services are fantastic because they do open up the opportunity for films to cross over into new markets, like Three Wishes for Christmas will be on Aspire TV later on this year, and a American streaming platform. And if it wasn't for that streaming platform, maybe people in America wouldn't have seen Three Wishes for Christmas, So that is an amazing opportunity that, we've got there. But ultimately, I would like for cinema to not lose its importance when it comes to like the film industry. And I think it's just really important for us as creatives and filmmakers to produce film that want people to go into the cinema to watch it. Like earlier this year, we had Sinners come out, Ryan Coogler's movie, and that had a massive turnout of people in the cinema. Like it was, like a resurgence of like
Amazing film,
cinema again. Yeah. And if we have more of that, movies that are being made specifically for cinema and not for streaming, but made for cinema audience, I think that people will go to the cinema. So, we've just got to kind of like reassess what we're doing and, how we're putting things out. And Three Wishes for Christmas being available in cinema in the UK makes sense. And it being available for streaming outside of the UK makes sense, So and hopefully with it, hopefully doing well in other countries and their streaming services, that could potentially open up the possibility of it being available in their cinemas maybe one day, because it is a cinema film, I believe,
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of helps open new doors for independent cinema, doesn't it? Because if it's got a home, at least it's got a home, and who knows what can happen.
That's the huge positive, is that with anything that you make, anybody, I can tell you now that anyone who set out to make a film goes into it wanting it to be as best it can possibly be, so somebody somewhere enjoys it. And I think that's the big thing that streaming platforms give you, is the opportunity for people to watch what you've done. Even if you've made a film on 50 quid, at least you can put it out there and and particularly for people starting out in the industry, or when we don't have access to the budgets that these huge productions have. It's about finding a way to display the work, and I think that's what streaming platforms give the opportunity to do that didn't exist before. So I think on the flip side of it, there's now ways of making stuff and getting an audience for it, which is an absolutely incredible thing, and that's why we do it, right? It's for people to watch it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I mean, Hollywood needs to get their budgets under control, because that's what's driving the prices up in cinemas.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And not only that, a lot of productions are being done in the UK now in terms of like filming, and I just wonder how much the UK has the capacity to support big, Hollywood level productions. Like, of course, we do have like our own film studios, but we don't have like a a Hollywood you know, we don't have that. So or do we?
Well, no, we don't really have the studio system in this
No,
country.
not the
We
same
have
scale.
the bricks and mortar studios like Pinewood, but we don't
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
have the studio system like Warner Brothers and Paramount and Disney and
Exactly.
stuff. So yeah, we don't have that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Although, I suppose
So I think that
back in the 60s and 70s, we did have Hammer, but
Yeah.
that was more of a boutique thing because they just did horror films.
Yeah.
They?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what they were known for.
I guess the
Mhm.
thing is that, and I guess the challenge that's laid down to anyone who wants to do it is that we've just got to keep going, keep going, keep coming up with different ideas, new ideas, and hope that people dig it. I guess that's what it comes down to, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
and I guess that's what keeps you going as well. It's what it keeps you going, and you hope that good scripts come in, and when they do, it's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are you both working on next that you can tell us about?
Well, I've been, like I say, I've literally been very recently been directing this pantomime, which has been a steep learning curve, but weirdly qualified because I've done an obscene amount of pantomimes in my life. That was always it was a banker at the end of the year. So that's something. But no, I've just shot a few bits and pieces recently. I've just been working on something with James Bush, who I know you've spoke to in the past, who I've worked with before. And we're working on something which is a real gear shift from Three Wishes. It's a sort of medieval horror, but watch this space on that. But we're getting pretty close to it, I think. So we've been shooting a proof of concept over in Prague recently, or near Prague in Czechia. And then I've just shot a couple of commercials as well. I've got a Christmas commercial coming out this year, but plugging away. I did a bit of Emmerdale this year as well. Got myself involved in a murder, but not sure what's happening with that. But there we go.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's good to see James getting back to the medieval stuff because his Predator film was brilliant.
This is the thing, right? It's where he should be. So we were like, come on, mate, we need to get something back in that time period. But actually, funny enough, it's the other guy involved in that is Adrian, who plays the lead in Predator Dark Ages. So he's back involved with it. So so watch his space on that one. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I do like James. He's a terrific guy. Yeah. And for you?
So what am I up to? Well, I literally just finished like well, not literally, but earlier this year, a few months ago, I finished like a major UK.
It was amazing, by the way. I'm just gonna throw in there. I'm gonna fanboy just for a second. It was unbelievable. And Christine was remarkable in it. It was so good. So good.
Thank you. Yeah, Jacob did come to see the show when we did hit Newcastle, and it was thank you for coming because it was just so lovely to have, a friendly face just in the audience. And
it was so good.
It was my
first time. Loved it.
Yeah, it was my first time in Newcastle as well. So, just to like go for coffee and catch up, it was really nice. So thanks for coming. And the production, it's just it's had such an amazing reception, and it was a debut. So there's just been amazing things that have come out of it. We just won a major award, the UK Theatre Awards, actually, for the production, and there's a lot happening with it. So we'll see what that has in store for next year. But aside from that, I am working on my my theatre play at the moment. It's called Oysters, and as I said, my aim is to get this done to be ready for early next year because I have some plans for it. And aside from that, just kind of like doing the typical actor thing. I'm just auditioning. I've had like a lot of really big auditions come in, and some of it's a bit intimidating because you think to yourself like, wow, if I actually get that, this is like, it feels life-changing. And I'm just kind of like cracking on with that and just seeing what the future holds. But yeah, that's
so is theatre your first love?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's my whole introduction to, acting and, the creative arts. So I think my dream is to perform at the National and at the RSC. And then, I can just like die happy. But but yes,
That'll happen,
and
mate. That's definitely going to happen. That's definitely going to happen.
you know what? Fingers crossed. That's kind of like the aim. We're working towards that. We're working towards that. But yes, film and TV is of course like a passion of mine as well. But I'd say screen acting is something that I've really started to explore more in the last 3 years of my career. And of course I love it. When you have an opportunity to get on set and work with like amazing people and go to amazing locations. And that's the thing about theatre. It is all your imagination, and you're in one location and you've just got your set and you just, do the same show over and over every night. And you kind of hope it's different every night and something kind of shifts in the room. And, the atmosphere is like a bit different and you bring something different to it. But with film, it's fantastic, isn't it? You're in different places, and that kind of like just alters a lot of what's happening with the production. So I'm really hoping to do more film and TV. So we'll see what happens with that.
Awesome. So just finally, before I let you go, where can we find you both to keep up with everything you're doing online?
So I'm on Instagram, and my Instagram handle is C__Vicky, Bicki. That's because my middle name is Victoria, and I don't want to change my Instagram handle. So yeah, you can find me on there, and yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, same. Probably Instagram's probably the best one. What's my thing? I don't know. I think it's Jacob.Anderton. That's probably fairly boring, isn't it? I think that's what it is. But outside of that, I mean, all the stuff's on IMDb and all the usual places. Yeah. But Instagram's usually where I do work-based stuff. And stick up little posts about things. But yeah. I must say, just to reiterate, because Michael Morrissey will actually kill us if we don't do this. So just to reiterate to everyone, the film is going to be available on Channel 5 on the 1st of December. Anyone in America, it comes out on, what was it called again, Christine, the name of that channel?
Aspire TV.
Aspire TV. That's on the 26th of December. It's also available on Tubi right now in America, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia.
Fantastic.
Done it. There you go, Mike.
Awesome.
And also, before we go, you should tell us as well what your favorite parts of the film were.
Oh, my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed the whole thing, but I think your shopping trip I really enjoyed, because I liked seeing Anita Dobson.
Anita.
I really enjoyed the mansion set piece at the end, and like you walking down the stairs, that gave me like Pretty Woman vibes and everything, so that was nice. Is it Woman and Gentleman as well? I think is another one. Yeah, another Richard Gere film.
Officer and a Gentleman.
That's the one. Yeah. But yeah, for other favorite moments, so I really enjoy. I also really enjoyed the shopping trip where you went around with Katie. I really loved that. Just like doing the Christmas shopping. So yeah, that was really cool. I liked I thought it was really sweet in the bookshop. With you two. I thought that was really sweet. And like gifting her the book. So I thought that was cool. So yeah. But yeah, generally, like I said, I really like Hallmark films, and this one gave me Hallmark vibes. It just happened to be British. Thank you so much, mate. It just happened to be British, so which ticks another box for me. So you know.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So yeah,
Thank you.
so yeah, and yeah, I'd like to see more of this, more of it, because we don't, like with romantic comedies, a lot of the time we don't see what comes next. We see them like get together. That's the film, is them getting together, but then it doesn't show afterwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
So,
we need to build up to this big Caribbean proposal. That's what I reckon, Christine. But
There we go. That's why we need a part 2. So
yeah, absolutely. Hint, Monika and Michael.
yeah,
Let's get this to work.
yeah, Caribbean sequel. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that would be a nice juxtaposition, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because this one's set in England in winter. I mean, in filming it in March, it's close enough to when it was winter anyway. So,
Yeah. Sort of quintessentially quite, I guess, British looking. I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, cool. I'm going to take my dog out for a walk. Because she's been waiting patiently for me to finish.
Yeah.
So yeah. But you two look after yourselves, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, mate. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Man.
Take care. Cheers. Take care.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. Please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram for more content. Bye for now.
Wish yourself a merry little Christmas.
I could never forget this week.
3 wishes for Christmas.
If you love something, you should do everything you can to get it.
Why don't you give me a sign, like the sea that leads a trail along that shore? It's not your problem, it's mine. Everybody thinks that I'm okay. Sometimes I think I am too. I'm on the outside looking in, I'm waiting for the shockwaves to begin. Oh, won't you let me hold you for one time? Just a rainy day in a London cafe, a London cafe. So give me one last serenade. Say to me, or swear at me till the night turns into day. And it was a shame when daylight faded, because we didn't notice at all.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.